This conference will now be recorded.
Those were all the submissions that I got.
Press boy, check again.
Can you check again? Because my group definitely submitted theirs.
Well, let me look at it later after class. And I was in Blackboard where that submission goes. So when I'm grading stuff, I go into that item and I click on it and it shows all of them that are there. And I clicked on it at 11. But we'll come back to that after class. So we are in the managerial accounting now. And we're looking at the cost accounting system that are utilized to accumulate the costs and come up with this cost of goods manufactured schedule. So you got that item you're making. You got to come up with the cost of that item. And we're at that point, we'll be moving to projections now, income statement, cost of goods. So you'll learn how to make these statements, but that's after the fact. So the project is really planning. And so you're going to have to do some budgets prior to the actual, before the actual statements will be prepared, which are only prepared after you start making the project for real and have some actual results. And that's what we said about cost accounting, managerial accounting, that is concerned internally with helping the company make money on a product by product basis. And then we talked about that managerial cycle, determining the unit cost and selling price. That's the first thing we got to do. If this is incorrect, that's why we're spending this whole week on it, and you will have a 15-minute 11:15 quiz on this on Tuesday. Because if you mess this up, you're going to start to mess up these journal entries, everything else. Second stage is journal entries, posting to the ledger, prepare financial statements. We have 2 new statements, but that's why we review this, because now that we're in managerial accounting, we got to do the same thing. But note that, this just drops in. So it's assuming that you know how to do this, adding in the new accounts. The product cost, what you got to have for your product. What's the direct materials cost? What's the direct labor cost? And what's the manufacturing overhead cost? So those are the product costs. The period costs relate to administration expenses, interest, marketing, and selling. But so these costs don't go with the product. These costs go into the inventory. So if you don't sell them all of their product costs, they're recorded when the product is sold, if you remember from inventories. So these are going to be inventories, and when you make something, you only charge cost of goods sold when it's sold. Otherwise, that cost stays in inventory. Whereas these costs, they got to be paid, and they happen period by period. And then we got into per unit costing, what you got to do, and we told you that you would need to come up with a unit cost, the cost of making one item. That's why I was asking about those masks, which mask you're gonna make. Or do they all cost the same thing? But you got to have the direct materials. You got to have and you have to have a schedule for each direct material. Labor, you got to make it so you know how much time it takes to make it, so you can put that in your cost. And then your overhead. Eventually on the product, you lose 100,000 the first year. You break even the second year. You make $1 million the third year and $2 million. So you got to look at facilities where you can make $1 million to $2 million. So you would have a big rental unit somewhere. You have property tax expenses. So you have a range of things like that you'll be estimating. Any question on what I've reviewed so far?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of questions about the actual content. But I'm sure we're gonna get to that later. So
Right? Okay. So all we're doing this week is working on step 1. So this is how your quiz will look. The first thing is the answer chart. So for products A, B, C, what is the estimated unit cost? What's the estimated selling price? And what is the predetermined overhead rate? So that's essentially what I'm looking for. And so this is how the exam is going to look. The second thing that comes out are the assumptions. There are assumptions on quantity, selling price multiple, raw materials ink, raw materials paper, direct labor productivity, direct labor rate, and estimated overhead total. So we're going to put those in as we work the problem. Then our next table is the total unit product cost. Once we get this total cost based on these 3 items, we then move that cost up here and get the selling price based on the selling price multiple. Okay. Part 1, we do direct materials cost. Part 2, we do the direct labor cost. Part 3, you do the manufacturing overhead and POR. So you have these 3 schedules so that you can then complete the work that you need to do. So I have sort of templated it out. I could have just asked you to come up with it, but I created a template so you can go through this template and it sort of organizes it for you. Okay. So, and we talked about the fact, this could be in Excel, but that would be up for you to do. So we weren't going to send an Excel sheet out. But if an individual member or team members want to do an Excel sheet so that you'll have it for future reference as you work with your project, that's fine. When you create the Excel sheet, that helps you learn. So I already got the template. You just have to put it in Excel. Okay, so who is first up today?
Aaliyah wanted to be first up today.
Leah wanted to be first. Is she on 10-5 or 10-6?
Am I what?
Is your exercise 10-5 or 10-6?
10-6.
Which one do you have? D?
D.
D, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just come on and ready to knock this out. And it's important that everybody, you're able to do it because you'll have an attendance quiz. We'll get to the next chapter where there are going to be 4 separate books. So you do that quiz with each person doing a book and turning that in. Okay, so Leah, what we're trying to do is in your team get these answers. So the first thing you need to do, put in your assumption. So what quantity are you making? Going all the way. So you're teaching the class now. So how many are you making?
Okay. So we making 4 per hour.
Now I want to know, I'm on this top line, what quantity are you making? So we're filling out the assumptions. If you look at the problem, how many are we making?
We're making 20,000.
20,000. What is our selling price multiple?
It is for the selling price. What is it? 12?
It's
What do you
3.
mean?
It's 3. It's the one he already gave. He already gave us information.
Oh, okay. My bad. I was looking like yes, 3.
I'm about to get on you, Kayla.
We here. We are right here helping.
Period. Teamwork.
Okay.
Raw materials, Inc.
Okay, it's 30 because it says 3 at 10.
I want the assumptions now. What are the assumptions?
3 at 10.
3.
3.
So I'm telling it all the way so that we're clear on.
Mhm.
So the assumption. What's the assumptions on paper?
4 at 10.
I'll take your word for it. 4 at 10. What's the direct labor productivity?
$12.
Now, I got the rate down here. So if your rate's 12, I'll put it. But this says
Oh, you said
productivity.
productivity. So for that,
It
how
says
do
4 per hour, Liv.
I'm sorry. Where you see that at? Oh,
It's
okay. I'm sorry.
So how many is it?
4 per hour.
4
Mhm.
per hour. And are you multiplying or dividing? I'm just,
Divided.
okay. What's your estimated overhead?
160,000.
I went through this to put this all in. Of course, you will have this, but I wanted you to see the assumptions and be familiar with them as we get ready then too. So what's the next thing we're gonna do?
Next thing,
We got to get this total
the
product.
PR.
No. Next table, part 1 is raw materials. So now we're ready to calculate the unit cost of the raw materials.
Okay.
Hey, Professor Boy, real quick. Did you have this table with the homework? Because for some, you know what? Did you?
I thought I had it.
Because it didn't look like what you're doing right now, which is probably why it
Yeah,
was
which
a
is what
good
led to a
amount
lot
of
of confusion.
confusion.
I think it's because you already had it filled out,
It was
so
already filled out.
we couldn't really fill it out, and that's why there's a big confusion around that.
Well, what I'm mentioning right now is this table that he got right now. Part 1, unit direct materials costs. I see
Yeah,
it, but
it's
it
not
don't
an
look like
empty one
what you.
in the blackboard.
Yeah, I think it's in there. What I did was, this is filled out, but it makes more sense to you understand what's in here and why. Okay, it's already filled out. So in terms of you understanding, so that you can be able to handle this part, I had you put them in. Okay, so that should not, that's not a problem. All right, let's go to the ink. What's the quantity of ink?
30.
Now, I mean, how many ink cartridges we using?
3.
Using 3 ink cartridges. What's the unit cost?
10.
So the total cost is what?
30.
30. Let's go to the paper. How much
Okay, the
paper
paper.
are you using?
4.
For the rings, what's the unit cost of the paper?
10.
So what's our total cost?
40.
So what's our total raw materials cost then?
70.
Okay. So even if I change it, you're supposed to be understanding concepts, not memorize. So if it's changed up, you understand what's happening. So now we got the 70. What we're going to do with the 70?
Oh, okay.
We're going to bring that 70. Oh, okay, Kayla, right here. Then we billing out the unit cost. We did the raw materials first. It's 70. So what we're going to do next?
Okay, that makes sense, y'all. A little bit.
Thank you, Kayla. Thank you, Kayla.
Right, because Caleb will want that voucher before you, right?
It's still making sense because before class we were talking about it, and I was like, it got to be materials plus labor plus overhead. But now that I see you got that chart up there, and we can just put it together. You know what I'm saying?
I thought I sent this chart out at some point.
I feel like you did, but I didn't find it until like just
And
now. So
assignments, the course content, and I may have emailed it to Kayla and asked
don't do
her.
that. Don't do that.
Okay. But you're trying to understand concept. So if it does change, that is, if you understand it, then you can look at this. It does, you don't have to have an exact template. Okay, because you're learning concepts. So now we're ready for the labor cost. What's the labor rate of pay? And this is the first one. So, this is not a problem. This is why I'm doing it this way to make sure you learn it. Going step by step, piece by piece. So what's the labor rate?
$12.
$1 an hour. What's our productivity?
4 per hour.
Tell me, I don't have it. How many can they make?
4 per hour.
4 per hour. So whenever you see 4 per hour, then when you get ready to get this cost, what you gonna do?
Divide.
You're gonna divide. Is that clear to everybody? Now, if you just say
Yeah.
if it's 2 hours, then you multiply it. But if it's 4 per hour, you divide to get your unit cost. What we're gonna do with the 3?
You're going to use that. I don't know.
You're gonna come up here and put it right here.
Up here.
Thought we using that for something else.
Oh, okay. So okay.
So we billing the cost. Now we got to get that manufacturing overhead, POR, as well as the unit overhead cost. The POR is how we gonna make the journal entries. So what is our total overhead?
160,000.
I'm taking your word for it. What's the total quantity to be produced?
20,000.
So now I hope you see why I put those in there, so it'll be easier rather than not really the cost is there. You put them in so you got a better sense of it. So, and what is our labor productivity rate?
It's $12.
No, it's 4 per hour.
Okay. Sorry.
It's all right. That's why we're doing it.
But you said the rate, right?
Labor productivity. I did say rate.
Okay.
Let me take this rate out because I wanted the productivity. So how many hours is it going to take me to make 20,000 units if I can make 4 per hour?
80,000.
How many?
80,000.
Oh, Dawkins.
Aren't you supposed to multiply lines 2 by 3?
I
No,
thought
it's
you're supposed to
4 times
divide. It's 5,000.
20,000 divided by 4. It's 5,000.
It's 5,000.
Oh,
It's not?
like that.
Oh,
No, you
yeah.
divide it.
Because you can make 4 per hour. Remember I asked the question where you add multiplying or dividing all the way up here.
Oh yeah. It was cut off at the bottom, so I didn't see that part. But yeah.
So when you look at this assumption, you're making a decision, as I go through whether I'm multiplying or dividing. So when you look at that assumption, that should start to be clicking with you. So it's 5,000. So what's our POR going to be? It says what? Line 1 divided by line 4. Line 1 divided by line 4. What is our POR?
32,000. Oh wait, you said 5,000. Hold on.
32.
Mine said 32.
Mhm.
So we got the POR. So I got my POR. So I'm gonna go up here to my answer sheet, because that's one of the things I'm supposed to put in here. POR 32. Now, so we got the POR up there. I now need my unit manufacturing cost. So I'm going to use this POR to calculate that unit manufacturing cost in terms of finishing out this chart for total product cost. I got to get my overhead cost in here. So let's see if we can do that. This is 32. So it says the unit overhead cost is the POR multiplied by
Line
the
3.
rate if it takes 1 or more hours, or divided by the productivity rate if more than 1 unit can be produced in an hour. So are we multiplying or dividing with the productivity rate? We divide. So we're going to divide 4 into 32, and what are we going to get here?
8.
8. Then I'm going to take 8 and do what with it? Put it right here. 8. Then I'm going to add these numbers up, and how much am I going to get?
81.
81. What am I going to do with the 81? The 81 right there. That's one of the things we want to know. Estimated unit cost. And I need to know one more thing. What's that?
The selling price.
What's my
Yeah.
be?
3.
So times 3. So it will be the unit cost times 3.
Yeah.
So how much is that?
123. Yeah, 123.
Okay.
Wait,
So
it's
No, wait.
unit cost
No,
times
that's
3,
wrong.
right?
I think it's
240.
243.
243. Yeah, it's
Y'all know
240.
that's me too bad, lady. It's okay.
Yeah, it's 240.
okay. Now you're gonna find. So you see why we spending this whole week, because when we
So
start
when
working
we do this on the
problem,
test, is this all we looking for right here? Is this it? Like this is all?
that's all you're looking for on the quiz. It's gonna look just like this. This is all I'm looking for, because when we begin to work the problems, if these things are wrong, then the journal entries are wrong. Got it? If these things are wrong, then a lot of your journal entries are going to be wrong. So
This
then
is
your
recorded.
is going to be wrong. So
I
you
hope
got
it's
to.
gonna be like them charts. I like the way you have the charts set up.
Thank
Makes
you.
it easier.
It's
Yes.
easier in Word than it is in Excel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So so you all were wondering what I was doing last class period. Well, I was saying, okay, let me let you work it, because if you just listen, Miss Franklin, then you might not get it. So now we've done one. Most people should kind of have it now.
Can you scroll down some? I just want to like look over this one more time, please.
All right, so answer chart, assumptions, total product cost, which leads back up to, the answer I want. Direct materials, direct labor,
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing. So I got big writing and it's spaced out. So you can go through and do this.
I guess what catch me up honestly is part three. Part one and two is pretty easy, but part three is like 'cause I don't understand why. Like it's not about finding the numbers for me. I don't understand why. Like what is POR and why do we even need it?
You need POR because once you make journal entries, you've got to estimate how much overhead to charge. You may not make 20,000. Your hours may be off. And so a better measure, when we get ready to make that journal entry, a better measure of that journal entry is going to be how many labor hours were involved. So we multiply the actual labor hours times this POR to give us the amount of the estimated overhead for the product that we're selling. Because we have the 20,000 here. We got that. We got to put it in. We had to put something in a journal entry. You'll see that later. You got to put something in a journal entry. So you got to. We'll come and we'll buy so much raw materials, and you debit raw materials inventory and credit accounts payable. Then you'll have so many hours for labor. And you debit work in process and credit cash because you paid the workers. Now I need to get an overhead number into the product. I'm moving ahead a little bit. So I got a debit work in process and credit manufacturing overhead. How much of the overhead am I going to allocate? I'm going to do that based on the hours because remember, we got 4 products here. And sometime that the overhead is going to be jointly shared. We aren't looking at that now, but eventually it's going to be 500,000 that we got to spread across all 4 of these projects. So that being the case, we can't look at quantities. The labor hours is going to be a better, how much labor hours did D, C, B, and A have in terms of estimating that overhead. So you see that later. So number one, know how to do it. Then the understanding will come later. Remember, this is just our second day. Okay. Who's volunteering to be next?
Me, Professor Boyd.
This is Garrett. Which one do you have?
Exercise 10-6A, I believe. Yes, sir.
Okay, so
10-6A.
10-6A. So where did I put my other stuff at? We were just done. This is 10-6, right?
The one we just did was 10-6D. So
Okay. So I'm just change this to 10-6. Then I'll move the other one to 10-5. So we got to get our assumptions in.
Uh, for quantity, I got 20,000.
Tell me about these assumptions I just placed in there.
So the quantity is pretty much the product, how much product it is, and then our selling price is 3.
Multiple.
Yeah, the multiple selling price is 3. And then for our ink, it is 2, get 2 for 10. and then for paper is 1 for 10. Then our direct labor rate is 1 hour, so it takes 1 hour. And the productivity is an hour, and then the direct labor rate is $12.
So are you multiplying or dividing?
Multiplying.
Okay, so she's multiplying. And total overhead is 60,000. So we're now
Yes,
getting
sir.
ready to do A, where we have 1 hour. And the first thing I'm going to do is go in here, put in the raw materials. How much ink do we have?
1.
What's the unit cost of the ink?
No, we have 2. My bad. My apologies. We have 2 ink, and then it's the unit rate is 10.
So therefore, the total cost is 20.
Yes,
What
sir.
about for the paper?
We only have 1.
1 ream of paper. Cost?
10.
So what is our total raw materials cost on product A?
30.
We're going to do the 30.
You put it in the the total
I'll
you put
go
it
up
in the
here
total raw material chart part.
with total unit product cost chart. So we were just working with direct materials and raw materials. Once we get a number here, we're going to move it up here. Now we're ready to head on to labor.
Yes,
What's the
sir.
rate of pay? What's the rate of pay?
$12.
What's our productivity rate?
1.
1. So what are we going
Yes.
to do?
You would multiply it.
So we get what? What's our answer going to be then?
12.
What we're going to do with the 12?
You're gonna put it in the total unit chart above.
Going to put it right here. That's the labor. Now we need the overhead. We'll be finished. So we're moving faster this time. What's total overhead?
160,000.
And that's not always the case. You just have it on this problem. And the quantity is how much?
20,000.
So our labor productivity is 1.
1.
So our total estimated hours is going to be what?
Will it be 8?
Might be more than that.
No, it's 20,000.
Oh yeah, my apologies. 20,000.
Nah, you good, you good.
Yeah.
I'm looking
The
at the
key
wrong.
thing that we're learning, that's the key thing. So our POR is going to be what? Line
I
1,
feel
line 4. So what's that going to be?
it's going to be 8.
POR is going to be 8. So I got my answer here for POR. So I'm gonna, so I forget about it, I'm gonna take it up here, 8. Now I'm gonna go back down here and figure out my unit cost for overhead. So what's gonna be the cost of the overhead cost allocated to each product?
It would be you would multiply it, so it would be 8.
It'll be 8. So then we're gonna take the 8 and do what with it?
Put it in put it in the poor section of the chart. The unit overhead cost.
No, total unit product cost.
Oh, the total unit cost.
So what's our total cost of the product?
It's a 50.
put the 50 here. What's our selling price going to be?
150 when you multiply it by 3.
Okay. So you see we moved a little bit faster that time. Next.
What am I?
Franklin's next.
Yep, I have B on 10-16.
10-6.
I mean, yeah, 6, not 16, sorry.
So let's see if on the B one, we can lift these assumptions in. So tell me about your assumptions.
So for quantity, we have 20,000. And for the multiple, 3. And ink is 2 at 10. Paper is 2 at 10. And the direct labor productivity is 2 an hour. The direct labor rate is 12, and the estimated overhead is 160,000.
It's 2 hours.
Right.
It didn't say 2 per hour. It says 2 hours.
Well, okay, so 2 hours to make 1.
So you multiply and divide.
Dividing? No.
If you got a per, you divide. If you got just hours, you multiply.
Multiply. Okay.
So you want to be thinking that way as you move through. Okay, I look at my assumptions. I'm in a multiplying situation, or I'm in a dividing situation as I go through. So you're already thinking about that.
Okay.
We're going to go to raw materials. What's the ink?
At $10 is the unit cost.
What's our quantity?
2.
Unit cost?
10.
So this is what?
40, or for both, or what? 20.
First one. What do we have on the second one?
The quantity is 2. And the cost is 10.
So what's the paper cost?
40.
No, paper.
Oh, 20.
When we add them together, what do we get as the total raw materials cost?
40.
What we're going to do with the 40?
It goes in the total raw materials chart.
Not raw materials, but total unit product cost chart. So raw materials is just one of those costs. So total unit product cost chart. Let's go to the labor. What's our rate of pay for labor?
$12.
And what's our productivity?
2.
So what's our labor cost going to be for the product?
24.
24. What we're going to do to 24?
It goes in our chart.
What chart?
You know what chart. I forgot the name of it. The total unit product cost chart.
And how much did we say the labor was?
24.
12, 24?
Mm-hmm.
And how much was the overhead? I meant the raw materials. We didn't put it up there. 40.
Yes.
Now we got to go out in here and work with manufacturing overhead. What's your total overhead?
160,000.
Now, I was just trying to demonstrate what happened as the labor work with this, but you won't necessarily have all the overheads the same on Tuesday. How many are we making?
20,000.
What's our labor productivity?
2.
So how many hours is it going to take to make these items?
40,000.
40,000 hours. So our POR is what? Line 1 divided by 4. So what's our POR going to be?
4.
So we're going to take this POR up here all the way to the top since we got an answer. Now let's go back down to the chart. And notice what that POR is doing. The more hours it takes, the lower that POR is. Versus when you can make more than 1 hour, the POR is higher. So this gives you a pattern of how that POR should be operating if everything else is equal. What's going to be our unit manufacturing cost?
It's the PR by line 3, right?
Does it say POR multiplied by what? Line 3. So what's that going to be?
Can
Your hour
you?
is 4. Line 3 has what on it? 2.
So
So what's 2 times 4?
8.
That typically is 8. So we're going to do it to 8. We're going to do this 8.
Can you hear me?
What you going to do with the 8?
It goes in our overhead cost chart.
No. You're going to get this chart right one day.
I am.
Total product cost chart. So what's our total cost?
So I have my total cost wrong. So
Well, can't you have 40, 24, and 8?
okay. I had something different. So I didn't know exactly if how I got it was right. 192.
Well, what's 40, 24, and 8?
192.
I don't know what that. If you had $40 and $20 and $8, you'd have $192.
72, sorry.
Did you multiply or something?
I don't know what I did, but it's 72.
Okay. So we're gonna do it to 72. We're gonna take it up here to the estimated unit cost, correct?
Yeah.
What's our selling price gonna be?
252.
Is that right? The multiple is 3. Look like you're gonna have a 6 in there.
216.
216. So it does make a difference, Ms. Franklin, right, to work the problem without listening, correct? Okay, moving right along. Next.
I'll go.
Okay, Harris, which one do you have? 10, 6, or
I
10?
have
10 what?
10-5.
So we said
10-5 D.
So we said we would make this 10-5 now. Okay, so we need some assumptions in here. We got the B one. So let's see if we can find some assumptions. So we have these assumptions here. You notice anything special about these assumptions?
Special? It's like the ones we just been going on, right? Over? Okay.
No, it has a selling price multiple.
Whether you multiplying or dividing then.
Multiplying,
All right, she's
right?
multiplying. That's correct, because it's 2 hours.
Okay.
So I just
Yeah.
want you to be thinking that way all the time, because if you miss that, then your product cost is going to be wrong. Your selling price is going to be wrong. So you cannot be missing it. As you work problems, this is the start of the problem. So everybody on the team should work independently and compare. So I'm giving you a strategy. You work this part of the problem independently and make sure you got the right answer. Okay?
Mm-hmm. You ready for the
Ready?
raw materials? Okay, for the ink raw material,
Mm-hmm.
the quantity was 2
Okay.
and the unit cost was 5.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 10 for the total.
Okay.
And then for the paper, the quantity was 1 and the unit cost was 10. So the total was 10 again.
So what then is our total raw materials cost?
20.
What we're going to do with the 20?
Take it down to the it's the like total of the charts of the total unit chart. What was it? Oh, the total unit product cost.
Okay, that's where we're coming. All right, now we're ready for the labor, right?
Uh-huh.
What's our labor rate of pay?
10.
What's our productivity rate?
2.
So what's our labor going to be? Unit labor cost.
20.
What we're going to do with the 20?
Take it back down to the total unit product cost chart. Right? Yeah.
That's correct. Now we need to work with this overhead.
Okay.
What's our total overhead?
80,000.
What's the quantity to be produced?
4,000.
So, and our labor productivity is what?
2.
So it takes 2 hours to make it. So what's our total hours going to be?
8,000.
8,000. So what's our POR?
10.
So our POR is 10. So we're going to take that 10, since that's one of the answers. We're going to put it right here. Okay, let's go back down again to, we're here, 10. Now we need the unit manufacturing overhead cost. That's going to put our total cost chart. How much is that going to be?
20.
How'd you get 20?
My POR multiplied by my labor productivity.
Okay. So we'll put the 20 what, right here?
I can't see. Wait. Well, yes. That's where it goes.
But what's our total product cost?
60.
What you gonna do with the 60?
Total unit. That's one of our answers.
That's correct.
So you go put it in the answer box under the unit cost.
I'm not gonna do that. What's our selling price gonna be?
180.
So our multiple was 3. So
Yes, the
selling
multiple was.
price 180. So how long did it take us to work that one?
You talking about just right now or me at home? Because it took a
Just
long
right.
time. Oh, we went through it quickly.
Okay. Let's see. We can get another one done next.
Y'all go. We
Okay.
have in class 2.
You've got in class 2. Do I have that in here? Okay, so I'm just gonna put in class 2 what it is. So if I look at these assumptions for in class 2, they're not in the same way. So we better put them in. What's our quantity?
10,000.
And what's our selling price multiple?
2.
What's our ink?
1 at 10.
And what's our paper?
2 at 15. And the direct labor productivity is 5 per hour.
So you multiply or divide.
Divide.
And our direct labor rate,
25.
estimated overhead,
And that is 115,000.
150. So this is the in-class problem. So let's see if we can run through it. What's our raw materials going to be?
So the ink quantity is 2, and the unit cost is 15. That will make it 30.
Paper,
The paper is 1 quantity, and the unit cost is 10, which only makes it 10. So the total unit raw material cost is 40.
paper 10. So we're adding together 10 plus 30 is 40. What you going to do with the 40?
Bring it up to the unit raw materials cost.
Unit product cost. Well, okay, I see what y'all are saying. Okay. So it's a unit, but just want to make sure you go into that chart. What we're going to have on labor.
All right, labor.
The labor's at 25, I believe.
Yes.
Productivity rate.
5.
Books per hour.
It's 5 per hour. And then I'll make it the total unit labor cost is divided, so it'll be 5.
Okay. What we're going to do with the 5? Come in here on our
Bring it
total.
up to the unit direct labor cost.
All right, so let's see if we can knock out this overhead and get our POR and everything quickly. What's total POR?
The
Your
overhead,
yeah,
150,000.
total quantity to be produced,
10,000.
our productivity rate was said was what?
5 per hour.
5 per hour. So since it's 5 per hour, how many hours are going to take us to make it?
5.
Total estimated labor hours, line 10.
So like this will be 2,000 if you divide it.
Okay, 2,000. So what's our POR going to be?
75,000. I mean, that's 75. My fault.
Should be 75. That's one of the answers we're looking for. So we're going to go ahead and stick it in, 75. Okay. I'm going too far. Okay. Let's see if we can now get this. So what's our unit overhead cost now? What's the unit overhead cost going to be?
25.
How you get 25?
I divided it
Divided what?
by line 3 with the rate.
About 5. And these numbers jumped up. So 75 divided by 5 gives us how much?
25.
Is that 25?
No, it's 15.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was a little too much. So it should be 15. 75 divided by 5 should be 15. So we're going to do the 15.
Bring it up to our answer.
Well, unit cost to get our total product cost, which is what?
60.
And with that total product cost being 60, what's our selling price going to be? What is our selling price going to be?
That part I still don't know how to do that.
Somebody tell them how to do it.
Multiply it by your the selling price number. What's his number? 2 or 3?
2.
Okay.
So you just take a selling price multiple and does what?
So multiply it by the 60.
So
The
what's our,
180.
well, no, 2 times 60.
120.
120.
So when you're selling items, you mark it up. So we're marking it up 2 times here, 2 times the selling price, 3 times 2 times the cost. Here, 3 times the cost. So we're trying to determine the unit cost. We utilize our multiple to get the selling price. And then this predetermined overhead rate comes from our calculation in manufacturing overhead. Can everybody do this now?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes, sir.
So we've gone through this. We've gone through each scenario. You've got to be alert. Okay, you've got to be alert to know, get these costs in there right. So I'm not going to be giving you the numbers. So all the problems start with you making this calculation. Okay, and so you got to get that right. So you got the in class, you have these, so you can practice on them. For the teams that I didn't get to, I'll check the submissions. So that's why the submission was in there, Miss Kayla. So that if I didn't get to a team that they had submitted, then I would count theirs, okay? Now, your teams